Mount Vernon Place United Methodist Church stands at the center of one of Baltimore's oldest spaces. Like many buildings in the city, it's easy to take it for granted. Completed in 1872, in the years following the Civil War, it was built as a principal Methodist church for Baltimore. It's intended to be permanent, a visible statement of faith and civic presence. It's constructed of green, serpentine stone quarried in Baltimore County, part of the geological formation that includes Soldier's Delight, which is actually now basically Owings Mills, and the bare hills to the north. The stone gives the building its color and its nickname. That's why we call it the Green Church. The design reflects 19th century Gothic revival influences, has a beautiful rose window modeled on European precedents. It's interesting to note that the neighborhood was not originally enamored with the church. Mount Vernon Place, anchored by the Washington Monument, was widely regarded as the jewel of the community, and the new church's heavy presence, its green stone against a more restrained palette, and a steeple that rose nearly to the same height as Washington's head, was unsettling for many people. That resistance didn't last. As the years passed, the church settled into the life of the square. By the end of the 19th century, the Green Church was no longer considered an interruption, but one of Mount Vernon Place's defining features. The site itself carries an earlier history. Before the church was built, this was the location of the house, which was actually Francis Scott Key's sister's house, where Francis died in 1843. He got pleurisy. And that's not good. A reminder that this ground held national significance even before the church was built. For more than a century, the building functioned as an active church and a community institution. It served as a place for worship, music, and public gathering, actually probably close to 150 years. During World War II, the church opened its doors to returning servicemen, a lot of them coming on boats that passed through Baltimore. They provided beds and meals at a moment when the city was absorbing the effects of war, including the people. In the 1970s, as Baltimore faced growing social strains, the church adapted again. Records describe the creation of a downtown crisis center and related programs working with homeless and alienated youth, runaway teenagers, and young people struggling with addiction. In more recent years, the tradition continued through partnerships with nearby congregations, assembling food and basic necessities for their neighbors in need. The church stands within the Mount Vernon Place Historic District alongside the Washington Monument. The long-standing public traditions, such as the Flower Mart, happen there. It's just been held since 1911, I do believe. This has been a neighborhood shaped by people coming together. By the early 21st century, the congregation had grown smaller, and the cost of maintaining the building increased. Its long-term future became uncertain. If you don't know what happens to historic buildings when they fall into tough times, just go check it out. They end up being turned into things that you do not want them to be turned into. So when the church's future became uncertain, it didn't remain a private matter for very long. Around 2020, the property was placed under contract by an out-of-town developer with plans that would have separated the church from Ashbury House, the adjacent building, long connected to its life and its mission. The proposal met resistance. Neighborhood groups and preservation advocates, challenged the approvals, arguing that the process and the outcome threatened the integrity of the site. The dispute moved through the planning hearings and into the courts. At one point, a judge reversed the city's approval of the subdivision, but the outcome was not certain. Then, unexpectedly, the deal collapsed. The developer died suddenly before the transaction was completed. Apparently, he flew to Israel and dropped dead in the airport. Anyway, it's a terrible thing. The sale fell through and the property returned to the open market. Happened without ceremony, but it created some time for some people to put their heads together. And in early 2025, local residents and stakeholders formed Unite Mount Vernon with a clear aim to keep the church in community hands. In July 2025, Unite Mount Vernon completed the purchase. Their intention is to preserve the building, restore what time has worn down, and reopen it as a place for arts, music, civic gatherings, and public use, while respecting the long spiritual history. The sanctuary was built before electronic amplification, so you can hear a single voice all the way at the back of the sanctuary. You don't even have to talk loud. The acoustics are unbelievable. So what happens next will take time, care, and resources. Preservation is patient work. Unite Mount Vernon is inviting the community to take part through attendance, participation, and support. For those of you who are able, donations help ensure that this building remains not just standing, but active, continuing its long role as a place of gathering and of service. The history of the place isn't finished, it's still being written by the people who come through these doors and by what they choose to pass on.